I've got a treat for you guys today because this is my Norden, the actual motorcycle I purchased and did all these modifications to it, and I traded it in here at Whole Shot Motorcycles on my Aprilia. Thankfully it's still here because I never made any videos on it because I wasn't making YouTube videos at the time. So yeah, we're going to take it out for a ride. I'm excited about this. I do miss it. So we will do a walk around, but first let's get out on the road, take it for a spin and do a first start. Ah, yes. Alright, let's get out of here. This is so weird, riding my old bike again. And then all the ergonomics have been adjusted for me, they haven't changed. Oh, I love this bike. Quick shifter works like smoothly all the time. This one, you're probably picking up, sounds a little bit different because I do have the factory exhaust on it, like the rear section, but I put the cat delete link pipe in, gives it a bit of bite. I quite like it actually, sounds awesome. This bike does have a higher seat than the other bikes I've ridden recently. Like I can kind of like, I'm just like tippy toes with both feet. But I think it's more because the seat is wider, which makes it really comfortable, which is one of my favorite things about this bike. It's just so comfortable, and I think it's one of the things that kind of stands itself apart from the KTM. Like the KTM, no denying it's a better bike off-road, 100%. The best way to look at this bike is it's like a more road-friendly KTM 890. Because it's the same motor. I really love the look of it, especially now I have the crash bars on it and all that. I'm talking about it like it's still my bike. Let's do a bit of a pull. This thing has heaps of power. So the wind on this bike, I am getting a little bit of head bobbling. The wind is starting kind of just where my GoPro hits, pretty much, on my chin. Feel that slipper clutch, working with the quick shifter. We need to check the air pressures. Rob thought they might be a little bit low. So let's make this a little bit of a review as well, because I don't want to make it just about why I sold this bike. If you want to know why I sold it, I'll put it in the timestamp so you can just skip to that, so you don't have to watch through all this if you don't want to know what I think of the bike. First, we've got some twisties coming up, so let's take this thing out. I am definitely noticing the extra power on this bike versus the Touareg now I'm on it. I'm still sticking to what I'm saying when I said that the Touareg has plenty enough power to have some fun. 100% it does. This bike just has more. So yeah, one of the things I really like about this bike is the WP suspension. It's really great. It's a little bit softer in this bike, I believe, and I think it sits in between the KTM 890 and the 890R in terms of travel. This bike does come with the quick shifter as standard, so you get quick shifter and auto blipper as standard. You don't have to like up spec it or anything. Oh yeah, nice brakes. Going through the modes on this one, you can change it when you're riding. So you go into the menu, motorcycle, street, rain, off-road, and then like I said, you get that explore mode if you buy that upgrade. Yeah, it is like, it is definitely noticeably more powerful than the Touareg. How much power do you need to have fun? And I definitely had fun on the same road with the Touareg, but yeah, this is just different. It's just a different class. It's not real chuggy either, this motor. 2,500 RPM and 60 km/h in 6 gear. You get a little bit, but that's where the difference comes in. This bike will quite easily wheelie in like second gear with no extra force or anything like that, no clutch, whereas the Touareg you kind of have to give it a little blip on the clutch and then it'll pull the front wheel straight up. This one just is quite wheelie happy, same with the KTM, you know. Let's talk about why I sold this bike. It's probably going to be disappointing to some of you because it's not super exciting, but honestly the reason I sold it was I just wasn't getting the use out of it. I didn't have any friends that rode adventure bikes, and I was real keen to like go on some rides with a couple of mates and adventure around the wilderness and central North Island and stuff like that, and you know, do some camping and dirt riding. You know, I have friends that ride motorcycles but they don't ride off-road bikes or even adventure bikes, and I was just getting a little bit bored doing it on my own. I do like riding on my own, but you know, I specifically wanted to go and do like some cool camping trips and stuff. I'd never had a full kind of super bike, which is, you know, what my Aprilia is. You know, it just has gobs of power. It's really exciting, and I just kind of couldn't get out of my head, so I decided to go in and trade it in. I honestly wanted to keep both. I went to the guys at Whole Shot. They gave me a good price on this bike as a trade-in. I can tell you the price they have on this now, they're making very, very little money. This bike is fantastic for urban commuting as well, because the clutch pull is so light. When I bought this bike, I was like one of the first in New Zealand to come out with. I think I was one of the first on the road with the Norden. I honestly really miss it, but yeah, I just couldn't afford nor justify having the Aprilia and this. So yeah, I went in and traded it in, and I'm stoked with the Aprilia. I'm definitely still going to get another adventure bike. I'm probably looking at getting like a Yamaha T7. I'd really like the T7 Raid actually. They should be in the country pretty soon, hopefully. And hopefully by that point I can afford to grab one. By the way guys, I am going to do regular uploads from now on. So I'm going to do I think every Wednesdays and every Sundays. Standing stop test. Yeah, no worries. You know what, I want to go to that other car park this time. Yeah, slow speed maneuvering is really great on this bike too. Standing position is really good on this one, but for me at 6'1", honestly the reason it's good for me is because I put these bar risers on it. The bars were a little bit low for me before. Let's stop here and check the bike out. Let's have a look at the lighting. The looks on this bike are going to be really subjective, but yeah, I really like the headlight. It's really bright at night as well, and those little side lights are actually quite nice. And I also really like the tail light on this one. I love how this bike looks, man. Kind of sucks riding it again because I do really miss it. So yeah, anyway, let's get to looking around the bike. And talking about some of the modifications I did to it. So going around the bike, I put the Jivy crash bars on the sides. Love those. I love how they look. You can like rest your feet on them on the highway, and they do work really well. You know, they protect the bike nicely. So you've got your low slung fuel tanks here, similar to the KTMs. I think the KTMs are a little bit lower. I love all the black bits on this bike, you know, the black wheels, the black swing arm, that link pipe. So there's usually a cat converter in here, so I took that out, and that's where that extra sound's coming from, because this rear pipe is stock standard. Bar risers on, as I was saying before, so they're about 25, maybe 30 millimeters, and they changed it, made it perfect for me. And then I put that top plate on, which you can mount GPS. So yeah, then I put this Perrin Moto rear rack on, which was fantastic for holding all my bits and pieces. What else did I do to this thing? Oh, I put the Perrin Moto extra wide foot on it, so that just like clamps to the standard foot. It just means it just helps it not like sag when you're like parking on grass or something like that. Other than that, the bike's standard. So really just those little bits and pieces. I think this is my favorite looking adventure bike, honestly. I personally think, you know, obviously it's completely subjective and kind of irrelevant what I think, but this is my favorite looking adventure bike. I reckon it looks amazing. I love the colors, the shape of it. You do have the 12-volt socket there, so you can plug your GPS into it or put like a USB outlet, and then this button here turns the little side fog lights on and off. And then you have the nice display, which is really nice and crisp, and then you can go and what's the bike info? So it's only done 1,400 kilometers since new, like total. So it's basically still brand new. really. Heaps of info you can go through. Changing the modes, like I said, you can change the ABS mode, whether you want it off-road, so just off-road just turns rear ABS off. Yeah, honestly, I do think this is one of the best adventure bikes you can get. You could really tour with this thing like you would on a 1250 GS even. I mean, that's probably a bit of a stretch. The 1250 GS is going to be better for touring than this bike, but you get what I'm saying. I could quite comfortably, if I found a bigger screen for this, I could quite comfortably drive around the country on this bike and have a great time. It just has power on tap. You know, it has the WP Apex suspension, not quite as good as the KTM, you know, fantastic nonetheless. It just really is just the whole package for me. I mean, I'm not an expert off-road rider. I can ride probably at an intermediate level off-road, maybe slightly above intermediate, I guess, but you know, I'm definitely not an advanced rider off-road. And just go and look at Dork In The Road, his videos. I love that dude. He makes such great videos, really unbiased, and he owns one and he's taken it off-road, done all sorts of BDR routes with it, and you know, he loves it as well. So I've said this in a lot of videos, all bikes are so good now, all modern bikes, that they all have their merits, they all have great things about them. Some bikes have some things that aren't fantastic, but it's really just picking the bike that's right for you and what you want to do with it. And this bike for me is like the premium version of someone that wants to ride it all the time on the street to work, go off-road and have something that's really super capable, has all the electronics, you know, has great brakes and looks rad. I mean, I'm gutted I don't have it anymore. Riding it now, after riding, you know, because the Desert X wasn't out when I bought this bike, and riding it now that I've ridden the Desert X, when I rode the Desert X, I came to the conclusion that I'd probably buy the Desert X over this, but it's a really hard decision. I don't think you could go wrong either way. I just love the all-round look and feel of this bike, and it's still super capable off-road. I don't know, it's I couldn't make a call. Go and check it out if you're in New Zealand. Talk to Rob at Whole Shot, he has it there for you. He got an inquiry on it this morning. I think it's probably going to sell in the next in this week or something, so we'll see. But obviously you can still buy them brand new in New Zealand. Yeah, you can see here, so my feet, I'm like on the balls of my feet with both feet. If you're a bit shorter, could be an issue. I'm 6'1", 32-inch inseam, and I weigh about 100 kilos with all my riding gear on. Let's give it a start. Sounds like such a beast. Easy to handle standing. Great quick shifter. This bike has a smoother transmission and quick shifter than the Desert X, so that's something to consider. This bike gets heaps of looks as well. I think people really enjoy the look of it. It's quite unique. Let's do an on-ramp pull. Heaps of torque on this motor. Always cover your brakes when you are filtering through traffic. Nice dude. I didn't notice before was the indicators. So I have my left indicator on now, but it just has the one icon. Little thing to note there. It looks like the hazards are on, but they're not. The mirrors on this bike are really good as well. I can see a bit of my shoulder, but I don't get any vibrations through them. It's quite easy to throw this bike around too. It's really nimble. Here we are, back at Whole Shot. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It was a bit random, not the usual kind of first ride video I do, but it was fun. And I'm stoked to be able to ride it again. Here it is, guys. Whole Shot Motorcycles, my old Norden 901. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.